Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for the support that you have shown on my previous VFX tutorials. So as you can see, this is the shiny metallic structure known as a monolith which mysteriously appeared in a lot of places around the world. So I thought maybe we can create this completely nuke. And today we are going to go through that live action compositing process. But before that, please subscribe to my channel so that I can come up with easy and simple VFX tricks to make your comp better. Okay, so let's get started. Before doing any live action compositing, we should remember three things. First is that you should know your lighting. If you see over here, the light direction is coming from the west, and since our objects are occluded by these big buildings, the shadows are rather soft. The second thing is knowing your camera. What I mean by that is knowing your camera focal length, the aperture, shutter speed, film back size, and all that stuff. So you should also shoot some lens profiles so that you get exact distortion values of your camera lens. In this case, I've used an iPhone 11 which has a 26mm focal length, and on that I've mounted an anamorphic lens with a 1.33x lens squeeze ratio. The shutter speed is 1/48th of a second and the aperture is 1.8. Ideally, the shutter speed should be set 2 times the FPS value, which is 24 in this case, for a film loop. So to shoot lens profiles, what I did is I rendered a checkerboard through Nuke, projected it on my TV, and shot it using my iPhone 11. So that's the curvature that we get. To solve this distortion, take a lens distortion node over here, click on detect, go to analysis, click on detect, and then click on solve. So first it will see the checkerboard and then it will solve it. The third thing is knowing your object and the surface. Now over here this object is highly reflective but not as reflective as a mirror. It has some imperfections and some roughness also to it. So as this is reflective, we should be shooting an HDRI. Don't worry, you don't have to buy any high-end gears to shoot an HDRI, but if your budget allows, go ahead with an Insta360 or a panoramic head. I shot this HDRI using my Canon 550D and an 1855 lens. Initially, I thought of using a chrome ball, which is not exactly a chrome ball. This is the Lakme Mousse, but since the ball was too small, the resolution which I got was very low. So I scrapped this idea. So what we need to do while shooting the HDRI is mount it on a tripod, and in the horizontal axis we should shoot all the 360 images which we can until we create a complete circle. Doing the same for the below area. By tilting it down 45 degrees, we should shoot these images by completing a proper 360. Similarly, tilt up 45 degrees and shoot these images like that. For extreme top and bottom, what you can do is you can remove the tripod, take your DSLR, tilt it up 90 degree and tilt it down 90 degree. Now, since we are using another camera, which is kind of a reference camera, what we should do is we should shoot lens profile for that also. Also, I've done the same thing. I've shot this checkerboard using my Canon 550D, and this is the distortion that I get for my HDRI plates. While stitching, what you need to do is you should take them on a card and similarly rotate them until we completely blend it with the first image. The first and the last image should be blending like that. In the scanline, switch the projection mode to spherical, Z blend mode to smooth, and Z blend range to 1, and in the 4K lat long space. So this is the result that we get. By no means this is a finished HDRI because my tripod didn't allow me to tilt down, so I had to do an approximation. But if your tripod allows you, I think you will get a better image. So what about these black areas? In my case, my monolith did not show me these black areas, so I didn't bother to paint them because it is a very time consuming job. But what you can do is you can take 6-pack cameras like that, which form a square, and you can switch them to square 2K resolution or 1K or any square resolution. And this is the down angle camera. and you can paint all of these sections over here to get a seamless HDRI. If you have a car over here instead of a monolith, I think black areas will be more visible. So in that case, you need to paint them. So now that we have our prep done, I think we should start with our main compositing. I've done a 3D track for this footage. I won't be demonstrating that because this is the easiest track that you will encounter. It is very easy to track. Also, one thing is to be noted that this footage is quite stroby. There is no motion blur. So make sure that you are not adding any motion blur in your main com. Anyway, so what I did is I took a cube. Over here, I've taken the pivot down so that when I scale it, I'm scaling it from down. Also, I have parented it to my pivot over here, negative parenting. So that's the way you can scale it up and down from the bottom. So the monolith is 3 meters long. So as in Nuke, we work in decimeters. So 3 meters is 30 units, like 30 decimeters. So that's the value that I've added over here. I've added a light source and a basic material with the camera attached. Also, there's one more thing. You should scale the camera tracker or the camera in the world space. Like that. It's 1 unit. You should just scale it to whatever suits, whatever is matching to your scene unit. So I've scaled the cube according to the same scale units. So this is what I get. This is a very diffused, just with a basic lighting direction which is coming from here, and I've added a lens distortion. So this is our diffuse pass. Next is the 80% of our monolith, that is the reflection pass. So we'll take our HDRI. We'll plug it on a sphere. Before that, I've done these treatments just to make it match to our scan, the whites. I've done some grading and all that using a keyer to match the whites to my scan. It was too saturated, so I just took out some of the saturation. I blurred it. Now this blur I have applied because our material has a bit of roughness to it. I've taken a ray render node. So if you see in motion blur, I have not added anything. If you want motion blur, you can put a value of 8 or 16 or whichever matches to a scan. In stochastic sampling, we have added 16. Now what is that? This will reduce your aliasing. If I keep it to 1, I'm getting aliased edges. If I keep it to 16, I'm getting good soft edges. I've created an AOV reflection over here. I've shuffled it, and finally I have the reflection. For this reflection to act properly, or if you want this to display the exact images what you were thinking, I've also added a displace geo to make the reflections uneven. So you can rotate the sphere to whatever you want, like whichever object you should see. I think you should refer to the angle of incidence notes on Google to know exactly which section you should be seeing over here. So this is the final render of the monolith reflection. I've done a lot of pre-com so that my final com is not that heavy. Now we'll add some imperfections, some smudges and some scratches. Nothing too fancy. I've just projected them on my cube over here. This is one variation, this is the other. Again, no motion blur over here. These are just default cameras, like normal cameras. Like that. If you see, on some on the top, some on the bottom. And for the scratches, I've made them slightly crunchier. I've added them on the diffuse and the specular input of my basic material. This normal node you can or you cannot, you can skip this step. Finally, I've added the scratches over here. If you see, when I expose it up, this is what I get. I've added it with my smudges. Added a lens distortion. plus it with the reflection. So this is what my final render looks like. Cool. Now we'll go ahead and add some shadows. Before that, do not forget to add grains to it. Why have I have applied this unpremelt? I'll show you later. Okay, I'll show you right now. So I've merged it not with a merge node but with a key mix node. Why? Because if you see, this monolith appears from down. So this effect, for achieving this effect, what I did is I took a roto. I've animated it from top to bottom, blurred it slightly, added some uneven edges on top of it like that using an iDistort and a noise. The noise is animating, by the way, in the Z axis. And then this is what I get. And then I've added it in my mask input of my key mix. Like that it looks. So why did I apply an unpremelt? To get rid of black edges, these, while key mixing. Whenever you're key mixing anything like that in this way, just don't forget to add an unpremelt before your CG object. Now we'll add some shadows. For shadows, I've taken the same cube. I've taken the cube and I've added a ground underneath. I've added materials on both of them, but this material which I've applied on the ground is less sensitive or less in intensity, whereas the one on the monolith is more in intensity, so that when I'm multiplying, my monolith doesn't appear to be black. You can tweak the settings according to whatever multiplies the best. And I've added shadows, like I've added a light source which is a spotlight. Also, if you see in the light settings, the default values over here is 1. So you need to pump it up slightly. And also increase your depth map resolution, and the main soft shadows effect which we'll get is through jitter scale, by increasing the jitter scale. So this is what I get. So what I've done is I've rendered two versions, like two things, one with the monolith and one is without the monolith. And what I've done is I've divided them. I've added a clamp. The clamp will get rid of any negative values, like these. And it will keep your values to 1. In both of them I've added a constant at the back just to fill up the black space, like that. I've divided them and I've got a clean occlusion shadow with no seams whatsoever, whereas in this you could get some seams. And I've treated the intensity of shadows on my monolith separately and on the ground separately, like that, to match the blacks with the scan. I've rendered this out, added some grains and added on top, multiplied it on top of that over here, like that. So you can tweak the intensity according to whatever suits you, whatever suits the scan. So I've matched the blacks to these. If you see, the blacks over here are a bit blue, but I'll be matching more towards this side. So that is my final render. This is how it looks like. So whenever we work in production, what we do is we show options. So for the fade in effect, I've done 2 more options. Before that I had done. So I'll show you all of the 3. So this is the one where it is just still. This is where it appears from top and bottom and merges in the center. And this is the one which appears only from the below section. Okay, so I would personally prefer the latest version. So which version you like, the version 0, the version 1 or version 2? Please comment down below. So guys, that's it. This is your first pass comp that you will show to your VFX lead or your supervisor. And if you have any questions related to this comp, please comment down below, or any suggestions. So if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and thank you so much for watching.